Alright, hey, what's up guys? Coach Mac, Play Fast Football. Alright, today I'm going to do a video on the zone side of Pass Pro, talking about half slides and full slides when we are creating some type of zone side in our Pass Pro, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the mistakes we make with younger players. Alright, so make sure you check out our partner's dome hats. Alright, this is one of my dome hats at the school I'm currently at. Alright, it's got our logo, motto on the back, swords up. Alright, and there's our OP, swords up on the front. Alright, we can change the style of hat, we can change the color, the panels. We can completely customize this hat. We can change the button up top. We can change the stitching color. Go online, check out their custom online hat builder, and you can design your own hat for your company, your school, your sports program, whatever you're looking for. Every hat has a story. Make sure you use Dome to help you tell the story of your hat. Baker Sporting Goods, company I use for sideline apparel, shirts like this, our spirit packs for our players. Our uniforms are distributed by Baker Sports. Anytime we do an online store, we use Baker Sporting Goods, so make sure you check them out. JustPlayFB, which is digital software taking your program to the next level. It's more than just a playbook. It's a more powerful way to present information, so you can create quizzes on your playbook and game plans and things that are coming up, so you can find out how much your players actually know about the playbook or about the game plans without just randomly asking questions or having to go out on a field and chalk, talk, walk. You can actually have a quiz set up where the kids get online, they take the quiz, and now you understand exactly what they know or they don't know. It's also the best play drawing tool on the market. Check it out. GameStrat sideline replay system we use. If you're looking for a highly affordable, highly reliable sideline replay system, make sure you check out GameStrat. DifferenceUSA, the ultimate striking machine. We set one up in the off season in our weight room. You can set them up in your weight room. You can set them up out on the field. Get thousands of reps without needing a partner. Elbows in, thumbs up. Striking is a big part of the game of football, and we have to work on it all the time. So why not get yourself a machine that allows you to strike in the off season? HighandTight ball security training aid. It's got sensors in each panel. You have to hold the ball exactly where it belongs with the proper points of pressure. All right, when you do that, you'll hear a beep. When you hear the beep, you know you have the ball secured correctly. If you do not hear the beep, if you're doing a drill, a bag drill, or an agility drill, and you do not hear the beep, that means somewhere along the line that ball, either the elbow came out or the wrist came down or whatever the issue is, that ball is not high and tight because you don't hear the beep. Ball security is job security, so make sure you check out HighandTight. StandPerfect is a training aid that we use to teach stances and to get multiple reps in different drills. Set it up where you want the stance to be. If you're doing get-offs with your D linemen, set it up where you want their feet to be. You don't have to talk to them about heel-toe. You don't have to talk to them about left foot back, right foot back. You set it up and say, hey, put your feet in, get your hand down. Now you can talk about balance and some other things, hand under your nose or under your face mask, however you teach your stance. All right, you can get multiple reps without having to use all the buzzwords of 4 inches, 6 inches, heel-toe, instep, feet parallel. Put them down where you want them, get the kids in the stance, and get multiple reps. So make sure you check out StandPerfect. So when we're talking about the zone side of a pass protection, so if we're a half slide team, all right, I'll draw an odd front up first because everybody talks about how people always draw up even front stuff because it's easier to block. It's also second nature when you're drawing and you've been drawing things for a long time. You just automatically draw up certain sets, certain defenses. So we'll draw up an odd front first. So if we were going to half slide this protection, we always start from the man side, and we tell them the first uncovered lineman is going to start the turn. All right, so if the right side was the man side and the tackle's big on big, right guard's uncovered, he's going to start the turn, and he's actually going to create the zone side. So what's going to happen now is we are going to have a 4-man zone side of the protection. Now, what these players have to understand is they are setting a gap on the zone side. They're not setting a man. All right, so the guard is now setting the A gap. So he's setting the A gap and getting his eyes there. The center has to understand he's not setting necessarily the nose guard. He's setting the backside A gap, and he's got to be able to get his eyes there. All right, the guard is setting the B gap. He's got to be able to get his eyes there. The tackle is setting the C gap. He's got to be able to get his eyes there because those four, all right, in this look right now, have to be able to handle those four right there, however they want to do it. Okay, so however they want to bring those four from the backside, we have to handle that. What ends up happening when you're working zone protection stuff, all right, when you're working half slide stuff, is guys want to get into a habit of setting a man. So the center gets in a habit of setting the nose, the tackle gets in a habit of setting the end. They set a man, they don't set a gap. All right, so very similar to a zone run where you would have guys taking steps to, all right, a certain gap, and then post-snap, if there was movement, you would have a way to handle all that. You don't have to lock on a man. This is not a man scheme. It's a man scheme for the backside tackle, but we've now created, all right, a 4-man half slide. So if you had an even front where both the front side guys were covered, All right, so if you had an even front and you had both front side guys covered and now there's an A shade back there, okay, with both front side guys covered, they're now man on a man side, and the zone side starts with the center, okay? So the center's got to work his way and he's got to get his eyes to that backside A gap. All right, well, that's a little bit easier for the center because there's a man in the backside A gap. So he's a little more comfortable. Kids get comfortable setting where men are. They don't get comfortable setting gaps. Okay, so you have to explain that to him. So now when he sets that gap, there's a guy there. He's got to make sure that he doesn't let that guy cross his face now and go to the man side, because you can't have players from the zone side crossing face to the man side because you don't have any help over there. But the big thing now is you got to get the guard out, and this happened to us yesterday. You got to get the guard to understand not to set the 2 or the 1, all right, the 1 technique or the 2-eye. He can't set that technique on the zone side because that body is there. He can't just set a body. He's physically got to set and get his body and his eyes to the B gap because the tackle's setting the C gap, which means if you were to get this stunt coming in here, all right, and maybe if the nose stays and they try to bring a backer off the edge, all right, Mike or Will, however you want to look at it, all right, now when the tackle goes to set the C gap, he's going to pass on his own side. He'll pass that 5 technique off back inside to the guard. Well, yesterday we did it, and our guard set inside to the 1 technique, and now the tackle sets here, the end rips in there, and you're thinking that the tackle got destroyed in pass protection, but you go back and watch the film, it's because we don't set our eyes to our gap. All right, we don't get our eyes out to our gap. Okay, so we've got to be able to understand when you're on the zone side, you need to set the gap and get your feet, your body, and your eyes to the gap because it's a zone side for a reason. We've got to be able to block that, all right, however they want to do that. However they want to make those 3 show, all right, on that side when it's 2-eye, 5, and a will linebacker, however they want to do it, doesn't really matter for us. If they want to bring the nose there, the end there, and the will back in there, we've got to be able to set our eyes and our body to a gap so that now when this happens, the guard picks up the nose, the center gets the will coming back because you're on the zone side of the protection. You're not on the man side of the protection. Now on the man side, they've got to be able to handle different 2-man games that are coming because you have nobody to pass it off to. You have no help. So these 2 now have to work and be able to work the different games that they're going to get on the outside because that's 2v2 with no help. You set the man side, you now are basically setting that man, and then we've got to work on the combinations that might happen. But on the zone side, and usually it's half slide when we're dropping back, on a zone side, we have to be able to understand to get our eyes to the zone side where they belong so that we don't just set a body or set a man. We have to set a gap, and we have to get our eyes to our gap. Now, it happens to us a little bit also when we go, all right, with our full slide protection that we'll use in quick game and sometimes in 7-man protection and play action passes. When we are working our full slide protection, if we've got a full slide onto the left, we now have to understand to set 1 gap to the left, all right, and the back takes off the edge. All right, so we're not setting a man, we're setting 1 gap to the left. So the center's got the A shade on him to his right, all right, or he's got the 1 technique to his right. He's got to understand if we're full sliding to the left, he can't set the 1 technique. He physically has to full slide to the left with his body and his eyes in the gap that's on the left, and he's got to trust that the guard's coming with him, and he's got to trust that the tackle's going with him, and the back is off the edge. Okay, because when we full slide, we're trying to basically create a flat wall to handle all these stunts and all these games, so that if you're getting a bunch of stunts and a bunch of games, if everybody just full slides 1 gap and they trust their buddy behind them and the back, we've got every gap, C gap to C gap taken care of. Now, we use that protection a bunch in our quick game stuff. Even though we can't cut the edge with our running back, we like to use it in our quick game because we want to secure A gaps and B gaps in the quick game, and we want to get everything spilled out wide because quarterback, for us, their mechanics are punch 1, ball comes out. So if it's punch 1, ball out, you want to make sure that there's no windows in the A and the B gap. So if we were to half slide, all right, if we were to half slide our quick game protection and insert a back, sometimes that's a little bit too much pressure in the A and the B gap. And when I'm throwing the ball quickly, all right, it's in a way I always relate it to like field goal protection. You block everything inside out and you make everything spill wide, and then the center, the holder, and the kicker have to beat everything running wide. All right, and outside of guys jumping and getting their hands up, you're trying to create that little pocket or that little horseshoe in there to where nothing comes from the inside and everything has to get spilled outside, because the quarterback is on a clock with our routes, and our routes are all rhythm timed up in the quick game to where the ball is punch one, it's coming out, so we can be aggressive with our protection. Okay, now the one that got us a little bit yesterday was full slide to the 3 technique. All right, so if you're full sliding to the 3 technique, you've got to make sure that the center is going with it. So if you're full sliding to the 3 technique, again, like I just had drawn, and you're full sliding, got to make sure that the center is going with it, so that if the 3 technique crosses the guard's face, the guard's going to let it go. He may punch it or secure it, but he's still got to get his body in the B gap, so that if you were to get 3 technique here, Mike here, if the guard goes back with a 3 technique, the Mike's going to run through. So now we got to get to the B gap, so when the 3 technique comes, he goes back to the center. Okay, so when you're full sliding it, you've got to make sure that you get your eyes and your body to that gap. Now, if we had the full slide that the other way, I need my guard to understand, don't set the 3 technique. So if we had the full slide that the other way, it'd be 1 gap left. Tackle's got to come with the guard, all right, and get down aggressively in that B gap, because I can't have the guard block out. If my center's working Liz and he works out to a shade or a 2 or whatever, a 1 technique or a 2-eye, and the guard goes back on the 3 and the Mike shows up in the A gap, we got a problem. So when we're full sliding, we got to make sure everybody gets their eyes and their body to their gap, and we set that gap, all right, and we set our eyes to that gap, and then we put the tail back on the other side to take care of the edge. Okay, so whether it's half slide or full slide, you have to understand in zone pass protection, you have to understand how to get your eyes to a gap. Don't set a man, all right? It's a zone protection, just like when you're teaching a zone run scheme. If you're working a combo on, a center and a guard on a 3 technique up to a Mike, and that's the declaration, and they work that zone scheme, and that 3 technique spikes, you're going to have a way of handling that with the guard, where the guard secures it and goes up, and the center overtakes. So it's the same thing in pass protection. All right, the technique might be a little bit different, but I still have to set a gap and get my eyes to a gap, so that if another guy is setting a gap and we're setting a zone side, we're all setting aside and creating a flat wall, C gap, B gap, A gap. All right, or if it's a 4-man turn, it's A gap, B gap, C gap. If it's full slide aggressively like our quick game, I need to understand that my linemen, if they're setting it left, can punch and get their body into the left gap with their eyes in the left gap, and I got to trust that every other lineman comes with me so that we don't leave any run through in the A and the B gap. Worst thing you can have in quick game is run through in the A and the B gap. The ball is going to be out of your hand. It's a rhythm passing game. Punch one, ball out. Keep the A and B gap secure. Spill everything well. Okay, so when you're working on pass protection stuff and you're working on the zone side of pass protection, whether it's half slide or full slide, if it's a full slide and the whole thing is zone, everybody's got to get their eyes, their feet, and their body into the gap that they're setting. Don't set a technique. If I have a 3 technique, but I've got to set the A gap inside on a full slide, I cannot set the 3 technique, because if the center leaves and we get a blitz, we're going to get run straight through. So with the 3 technique, I got to know that we're full chaining. I got to know my tackle's coming with me, so I got to post down into the A gap so the tackle comes with me into the B gap. I can't set the 3 technique. If I'm the center working away from a shade or a 1 or a 2-eye, however you want to look at it, I can't set that body if my gap is over here. I've got to physically set my gap and trust that the guard is coming with me, and work on the communication, the execution, the assignment of all those things, so that everybody understands what a full slide looks like, what a half slide looks like, where are we man, where are we zone, where do we insert the back, all right? That's all part of pass protection. And then you got to build on top of that quick game. Quarterback's got to get the ball out, drop back. He's got to understand where the hot pressure might be coming from, what linebackers we cannot account for, so that the ball's got to come out of his hand quickly. So all those things tie together in pass protection. So we had a few minor incidents yesterday during practice where we didn't get our eyes set to our gap on his own side, and it looks like, you think you're getting destroyed in pass protection, but in reality it's an execution and a assignment problem, because guys aren't fully sliding or half sliding or setting their eyes to the gap that they're responsible for. They're actually setting a man. which is commonplace in high school football. A lot of times, linemen think whatever body is near them or on them, that's the body that we have. So when you're teaching things schematically, whether it's pass protection or run game schemes, you've got to be able to teach the schematics of, hey, I don't necessarily just have that guy. This is a zone protection, or this is a zone run scheme, or whatever it may be. Always you're going to have to teach those little things, those little nuances, because a lot of kids think the guy that's in that vicinity is the guy that I have to block. Okay, so again, I appreciate everything you guys do for Play Fast Football. Remember to click that subscribe button. Turn the notifications on. You'll know every time I put out a video or I do YouTube Live. Make sure you thumbs up or thumbs down the content. If you like it, great. If you don't like it, go ahead and thumbs down. It lets us know the content you like, you don't like. Maybe I describe it in a way you don't like. Always try and leave a comment. If it's a comment about the video, I'll always try and respond to you. Okay, yesterday I did a video and I was going through different things. I forgot to draw the backside corner up. A guy made a comment and said, hey, there's only 10 on the board. Appreciate the comment. The corner didn't have anything to do with it, but I still respond because I appreciate that the guy's watching the video. I'm not going to respond back and go, I know there's only 10. You know, that's stupid. No. Yes, there was only 10. Thank you for pointing that out. I didn't get a chance to draw the corner because he wasn't part of the scheme we were talking about. So I'm always going to get back to a message if you comment about the video. If your comment is clickbait, trying to get people to do other stuff on whatever it may be in the cyber world, trying to post a comment so everybody uses a certain, a certain deal to hack a website or something on Instagram. I've seen all kind of crazy comments in my comment section. I'm not going to have anything to do with that. If I get a chance to report it, I'll report it. But if you leave a comment on the video, another video, an idea, give your opinion on something that's different. If you say, Coach, that's not the way we do it, go ahead and talk about it in the comment, and we'll have a conversation. I've never one time told anybody, well, that's stupid, don't do it that way, you got to do it this way. This is what I do, how I do it, my opinions on how we need to take care of what we're doing, okay? But there's no one way to play football. So you can open up dialogues. I've had a lot of great conversations with people in the comment section, so make sure if you get a chance to leave a comment. All right, as always, stay safe if you're playing spring right now. Keep working hard, get ready for your game. If you just got done with spring and you're rolling into the summer, all right, at least you got your season taken care of in the spring, and now you got to double up and roll right into the summer. Okay, if you didn't get a chance to play last year for whatever reason, then hopefully things go back to normal and you're playing this year. So I appreciate everything you guys do for me. Remember, you won't play well until you play fast, and I will see you guys next time.